from all the meetings we tend to have. This one is just to help you fill in the form for our campaign. So we are going to do a lot of hearing from our side from any doubts you may have. Just to check, we are all aware of the campaign of climate action. Are there any doubts about what is it? What's the price? How's the voting process? Not so far, because I had the presentation, but I know you all, so I'm not gonna go through it all again. But if you have any doubt, would you like me to make a quick recap on it? Yes. Okay.
Just to be sure that I'm thinking about the right thing.
Great.
Because I dip in and out of ITAC, as do many of us.
As we all. So we can make this a quick recap. As you know, we are in like the final meetings of the collective, because this year, at least the climate collective is going to come to an end. That doesn't mean that ITAC is coming to an end. We'll have all the other channels to meet up, but this one is going to be round up, and that's why we thought, we all know what we are doing already here, this campaign to make the legacy the best legacy we could make, and to make it long lasting. So turning climate action into a teaching artist legacy is a campaign that's mostly an invitation to contribute with any idea you might have, make it be an activity, a workshop, a warm-up, whatever you feel like you would like to share to this resource bank that will be housed in ITAC websites. I don't know if you've seen Eden's engagement project and the website they have dedicated to in ITAC. If not, when I stop sharing, I'll send you the link so you can see it and like get familiar with that too, because it's a lovely project. We'll have a similar site within ITAC's webpage where everything will be housed. Everything, of course, under the name of the teaching artist that has submitted the idea, with the contact link. So basically what we aim to do is everyone shares their ideas, and if someone happens to see it and like it and want to contribute and want to further develop it, they can get in touch. So that's kind of a way for everybody to keep seeing what everybody has to offer. Of course, related to climate action. The idea is that there will be a prize for the first and the second most voted ideas. We'll have until the end of September, we'll be receiving ideas, and then we'll have all October for people to vote. Who will vote? The members of the Climate Collective. And what will they vote? The idea they like the most, probably. For those who submitted an idea will be their own idea, but for others will be the idea they like the best. Not only the prize, you'll also have the visibility of the idea posted in ITAC's website and the certificate recognizing the contribution to the Climate Collective. What kind of idea can it be? We're giving it a wide open opportunity. Any age, any media. It could be this video, audio, photo essay, graphic storyboard, whatever you feel. If it doesn't go through media, so through digital medias, you can like record yourself showing what could be done, and then you can submit the video. If not, it can be written. I mean, we are accepting every kind of idea because there's no such thing as bad ideas. Then the conditions would only be that they need to be either in Spanish or in English. All the intellectual properties will remain, of course, with the teaching artist. That's why we'll also ask information. And probably if you would like to have a short bio within the website, any specific email, any specific media, contact phone, email, social media, and just to be part of the ITAC Climate Collective, which you all are. And that's basically it. Then here I will share in the chat let me see if I have. So John, I didn't see the chat, sorry. Okay, no worries there. And there we have a bit.ly. That's a short link for you. Please feel, oh, sorry, that's not one. Delete. Barry, feel free to open your mic. No worries there.
Okay. Yeah, I just know I was wondering, is there a firm deadline? I and I'm sure others are in the same boat. I tend to work well if I know it has to be by a certain date.
We are just putting the 30th of September, the last day of September, just to begin the voting process during October and have the whole month. But we will have one more professional development, like the PD sessions we normally have with another teaching artist. That's Katie Basil. She's one of the impact teaching artists of 2022. So if you happen to see her exposition and you get super inspired and you have an idea from that, you can like just email me and say, hey, I'm gonna be late. I'm going to put it up next week. And there's no worries with that. We're just trying to give a sense of more or less ends of September, so we can get everybody to have plenty of time to vote during October. And then the winners will be presented in the Climate Cafe of November. I think it's the 17th of November. Is there any other question? Perhaps you got to see, I just posted in the chat the link to the form if you would like to go through it, and perhaps there's any question. Last time we did the polar bear skating example, I remember.
I just have one question, which is I opened the form and I'm wondering if I can see the whole form before I begin to fill it in. It seems like I need to fill in the first page and then I can go on. And it's just I just like to see the whole thing so I have an idea of how to organize my material.
Of course, yes.
So I just don't know if that's possible or not. Is that, maybe it's on this, no. See, it says next at the bottom. So I don't know how much.
It's just 2 more pages, but no worries. I can like share the screen and we can go through it so you can see it. There we go. I'll just fill in a short example of it. So here, let's say my name is Sol. This is my email. I'm just filling. I'm in Buenos Aires. I was inspired by Russ. And I'll just put dots to make it quick. But here's everything you need to fill in.
But we do have to fill in these things before going on to the next page, is that right?
Yes. Okay. But I can send you, perhaps I can make like quickly now a screenshot for you to have the next page, and I can put it on the chat.
And also, when you go to the next page, are you able to come back to this page?
Of course, yes.
And you can go forward and back through the 3 pages. Okay. So you could just put activity XX, culminating presentation, blah, blah, and then come back and fill it in.
That's right. See, here you can go back and then you can go back and forward. But I'm just leaving for you to have the screenshots in case you you need to. So we have them. Then the next one will be sent, just for you to know, because since we are accepting is what I was saying before. If you would like to just fill in a video explaining everything, or if you want to make support with images, photos, previous experiences, whatever you feel like sharing, here we posted something to attach any kind of file you would like to share.
Are there word limits in those the descriptive boxes?
No, we haven't put any. If Google Forms happens to have a word limit, we haven't put any, but if you happen to find yourself limited by the space, just there's my email we have from the Climate Collective. Every newsletter, if you put reply, you can just say, hey, I'm trying to fill this in. I got complicated. Here's what I wanted to put.
Or it sounds like you'd be cool if, like, I just say, see the attached PDF.
Yes, exactly.
Attach it, a long essay in a document. Yeah.
That's, yes, so you can do both ways. It's completely fine with us.
It's nice to do a process that you don't have to do it exactly a certain way, and you're not going to.
We are a teaching artist community. We are marked by flexibility. Is our main definition. So yes, feel free to just text me, email me, and tell me, hey, I have this specific problem. This I don't understand. Are there any items within the form that you have doubts about?
So I'm just wondering, what does key questions mean? Like, maybe you said it before, but it's just
no worries, John. Thank you for joining us. Key questions would be the specific things you would, because the ideas would be replicated by other teaching artists. So for example, if it's a warm-up activity to do with a group from girls and boys of 5 years old, and you would have the key questions for them to ask. The teaching artist would say, how are you feeling? What is the expectations you have from this warm-up activity? How did you wake up today? Like the reflection, or in English, I know the word in Spanish, but it would be, what are the main questions the person that's leading the activity will rely on in order to get the activity going.
Okay. So for the beginning and the end, or like?
Exactly, or throughout, like in the beginning, you would like to ask them, how are you feeling today? During between one and the first step and the second step, you would like to ask how, I don't know, if it was like what the perception on a specific object, how do you see the object now? How did you see it before? In the end, what are the conclusions you're taking, or what have you learned, or how are you feeling now?
Okay, so like a not really assessment, but like you're measuring what people know. Like, or just, so if I were to say, like, how many of you turned on a light bulb, turned on a light switch this morning? Or how many of you turned on a light switch this morning? How many of you use light, or right, okay. And
exactly.
There. Okay, so it's just to give someone a suggestion.
That's right. Okay. Like basis for people to support him if they don't have any idea of how to get a conversation going, or if they don't know of how to check that the activity is going as is it meant to be going.
Okay.
I don't want to say if it's going good or bad, because everything is different, but how to kind of assess that.
Okay. So if you're in a classroom, just the questions that you just ask naturally to make sure everything is happening, and who's on board and who's not, and what's missing. Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Those aren't always conscious, right? We just do it.
Sounds like it's almost some suggested scripting for someone leading the activity.
Exactly.
We know how to lead it, but they might, from our description, they might not be clear about what are some of the specific things they'd say.
Yes, exactly. Or perhaps they would lead it differently, and it's just like, since it's your idea and your activity, how would you suggest people to the key indicators you would suggest for people to know if they're doing it as it was meant to be, or they are just like versioning, doing a different version.
Okay.
Hi, Azuka. Thank you for joining. Just for, I don't know if you can hear me, but just for you to know, this is kind of like a different meeting. David had to go. Just it's kind of like drop in, drop out, where we are helping people with any doubt they might have on the campaign we are launching. I don't know if you've heard about it, the Turning Climate Action into a Teaching Artist Legacy. You'll have the submission form here in the chat. I'll put it again, so you can go through it and take the opportunity to ask any question you might have. Oh, no worries. You can like write down the questions if you happen to have them. No worries. Okay. Oh, yes.
I have another question, which is on impact measurement. You
Yeah.
just like, I mean, I guess this would depend on what, I mean, if you're in public, it's how many people, you know, come and do it, or is it if people participate the whole way, or maybe the questions at the end tell you, or is there is that what you're looking for by impact measurement? I mean, because if you
Exactly.
do classic studies, you have to give them statistics, but you're not looking for that.
No, again, it's an open opportunity, so it would depend on the kind of activity you're posting and what do you think that it's that's impact. If for you it's we need to get as many people as we can get to know about this specific problematic, it would be a number of assistants. If the activity is meant to see things differently, perhaps the measurement impact would be how many participants started thinking that plastic does not pollute as much as people say, and how many actually are willing to recycle now because of what they've learned here. Okay. It would mainly depend on the objective of the activity that's proposed.
Gotcha. Thank you. I mean, it's very clear, but I fill out so many forms and I'm just never know what the person reading it is thinking, you know, like.
That's why we thought of this, because as a person that also fills a lot of Google Forms, I'm always like, I think they meant this, but I'm not sure they did. So we wanted to give an opportunity for everyone to drop in, ask questions. Also, as we are accepting submissions in Spanish, but the form is not in Spanish, perhaps someone had a question regarding translation. So we also open this for them too. It's English, potentially Spanish speaking session. If you want to take advantage of this remaining half hour and start filling the form, and just as you do it, you get to ask me any question you might have, feel free to do it. That's kind of like the climate hackathon objective. So don't feel pressure to be present in the meeting. We are just giving support.
And so I have several ideas. It's fine to submit several things, right?
Of course, yes. Then you would have to choose which one would you kind of promote people to vote for. But
I would probably just put them out there and let them all just be whichever, you know, look at what they see.
And also, we kind of haven't contacted everybody yet, but for people that are submitting ideas, we are going to invite everyone to come to either the meeting. I don't think it'll be the meeting in September, but potentially the meeting in October to present the idea. Oh. So just to know that once you submit, you'll probably get an email on my side during September inviting you to present what you submitted during. I think the meeting in October will be the 27th, and the voting will end the 31st. So we'll be kind of like, hey, this is my idea. These are the last days to vote. If you want to join, if you want to like support, it will be awesome. And perhaps explain a specific valuable aspect of the activity that you want to highlight. So that'll be, it's not mandatory, it doesn't imply that your submission or your idea will be more or less promoted. Everybody will be equally promoted. It's just an opportunity we give everybody who would like to use to present. Also, if you are not able to make it the 27th, but you would like to present, you can send us a video and we can play it in the meeting. Just for you to know that we know time zones, end of the year, everything gets tricky. So that's another opportunity you might have.
Will that be at this same time on the 27th?
Exactly, 15 GMT.
Yeah. I got confused. I tried to get on an hour ago. I looked up England time and realized that England goes off of GMT for the
At summertime, yes.
I just thought GMT is England.
Yeah, the other day I had a meeting with someone that lived somewhere in Belgium, but she worked in London, and the commuting time was an hour. And because of the different time zone for summertime, she got the chance to like wake up, get her kid to kindergarten, have breakfast, and still be at the office at 9 a.m.
I learned a trick because the first few meetings I tried to attend, I just couldn't quite figure it out. I kept looking and trying to figure it out. And finally, I put into my Google Calendar like 15 something GMT, and it told me what time it was. It translated it for me, and I said, bingo. Because before that, I was dealing with all those same questions. And I mean, I have family overseas, and I never know what time it is, you know.
Yeah. For me, I got used to it because I tend to work with a lot of different time zones. So perhaps it's like Friday 8 p.m. and I'm having a meeting. It's Thursday 7 a.m. for me and I'm having a meeting. It's like I just got used to Google solving all my time zone issues for me.
So you're in Buenos Aires?
I'm actually in Cordoba. That's another city within Argentina. It's more.
What time is it there?
Here is midday. It's 12:30.
12:30. And Sana, where are you?
I'm in Connecticut, so I think I'm the same time zone as you, 11 a.m. Yeah.
Like, okay, we're similar. It's not like when we have people from Philippines, that's 10 p.m. for them. So would you like to share any of the ideas you're having? Or is there any doubt you might have on the submission?
Well, I mean, I can answer. I can say that I work with light pollution. So I have different activities I do with children and with groups. I just try to spread the word is all it is. And then I bellyache about it all the time. But so I have a couple activities that I really like to do with anyone, actually, children or adults, and they can take 5 minutes to a half an hour. So I guess here I am trying to put 2 activities in one program, and I could just choose one, but they kind of do different things, you know, like, because the question you can turn on a light switch. So now we're talking about light and artificial light. That introduces artificial light. And the reason I introduce artificial light is because we don't see the stars because our light impedes them. I mean, it's really like there's pollution between us and the stars, but we don't know it because we're looking at light, right? If light is in your eyes are light adapted. You can't see in the dark. So if someone's light is in my eye, I have to turn my light on to see what I'm doing because their light has just obscured my vision. So one thing I do is I have children put a patch over their eye, and I bring patches, or they can make them, you know, or just hold the hand over the eye. And you want to be in a dim room so that like in 5 minutes or so, like sometimes I tell a story while they have a patch on their eye. I tell a star story or read a book. And then when they take, if you put your hand over one eye, and then you take the hand off in 5 to 10 to 15 minutes, the crazy thing is the eye that you covered will see better than the eye you did not cover, because it's now dark adapted, and dark adapted vision is like 10,000 times more sensitive, because in the daylight our eyes accommodate all the photons of the sun, but at night our eyes can perceive one photon, you know. And of course we blast everything. So that's one thing I do just to show kids, you have night vision, you have a superpower, right? But your superpower gets shut off as soon as you look at a light bulb, because your eyes will adapt for the brightest light in the environment, because they have to. I mean, you know, I mean, we don't understand. If you're a theater person, you use light for effect, but otherwise we just sort of think it's necessary. We see by light. So that's one activity that's, you know, that's just kind of cool on its own. They can make a patch, or they can just put their hand over. And then that can, you know, if I do that as a lesson, I carry a lamp post. Like I made a portable lamp post that I carry in. There's a, you know, like how all the outside lights have these glass colonial globes or something, and we see the light bulb. And I say, this is like looking at people's underwear. Like, you should never see a light bulb. You want it covered, because as soon as you see the light bulb, you can't see anything that's dimmer, right? So then you think it's dark. But so there's, I guess I could just do a lot with just the eye patch like that. And then I'll show what this lamp post, and I'll put a lamp shade, an old fashioned lamp shade, like in your grandma's house, over the lamp post. And suddenly everybody sees that the light is on the ground. Whereas if you're just looking at the light bulb, the light is going omnidirectional. So it's actually not lighting what you need lit. It's lighting everything. You know,
That's
so
so
I mean, so I mean, I'm talking about this. So this is more like just talking, but with kids, I have them do the eye patch. And then the other thing I do that I really like, that's really easy, they need watercolor and crayon. And I talk about the Bortle scale. So Bortle in like 2000 created a scale to measure light pollution by vision. Like you look up and you count how many stars you see. How bright or dark is your night? Because you will only see as many stars as your night is dark. And so there's a range from, you know, pure dark night sky, which is almost no place anymore, to like inner city, you know, light gray sky. And so I have kids just I show them the Bortle scale, and they make a little range, and they put white crayon on white paper, and it's great. They say, Miss Stanley, how are we going to see white on white? And I say, well, look outside, it's daylight. Do you see the stars? And they say, no. I say, but they're there. Like, but because the sky looks white, you don't see them, right? And then they paint watercolor over the crayons, like in, you know, varying shades of dark. So from really light to really dark. And they see that when they paint darker watercolor over the white crayons, the white appears. And so they feel like they're like, the stars are showing up. Like, so there's both of those activities. So I don't know if they both belong in one thing or not, or if that's too much for this.
No, you could definitely join them if you like want to give a kind of like a sequence of activities. You can start with one and make it like a big one, or you can do like very suggested and submit different. Yeah, it's not limited to one activity or one idea per person, right. But you feel free to submit as many as you like to. Just as I told Barry, keep in mind that then people will vote just for one. Yeah. So if you present them, you can present them all, but people will end voting for one. We all have 1 million, right? So I'll try to make it one because it's easier for me. That's true also. If you want to centralize all the ideas into one big activity, you can definitely do that too. I mean, it's really to raise awareness, you know, like be aware of how light works and how your eyes work and how the animal kingdom works. Like when people say how much is too much, I say, well, how big is a firefly? You know, like they need to see each other.
That says it all. If it's more light than that, we're obscuring their vision.
I saw. Oh, please go ahead,
I was
Barry.
gonna say, and do you pronounce it Sana or Sana?
Santa.
Sana,
I
that's
answer to either. Yeah.
that's neat
One is
because
Spanish, one is English, right?
yeah, I think we tend to think that without artificial light, it's pitch dark. I remember there was a time that, my wife would be like, well, we have to leave a nightlight on for the dog. And I thought, no, there's plenty of light that comes in, from the street lights outside, from the moon, from the clouds, So
Oh,
we
yeah.
have plenty of light that, when we turn out all the lights and just stand there for a couple of seconds,
never
you
dark.
realize there's plenty of light. Yeah.
Well, so
And of course, when you go into a dark room, I know when you go into a dark room, the trick is you close one eye, leave the
Yes.
other one open, not dangerous. And then
I'll
after
close
10 or
both.
15 seconds, you open the other eye and
I
yeah.
close both eyes. If I want to
Yeah.
step out into the dark, I just close both eyes. I
Yep,
mean,
I
what's
do that
dangerous?
too.
I don't know. It depends
Yeah.
on where you live and what you're doing. But I
But
mean,
for people who are worried, say close one eye and then you're
yeah. But you want, if both eyes are dark adapted, you can see a lot better. It's true. We just don't, but we don't realize. I was 10 years since I've seen this was under trees. So it was a dark night, like no moon. There were no lights on the street when I moved in 20 years ago. And under the trees on a dark night, it was pitch black. And myself and another woman who both walked at night, we bumped into each other. Like, it was so funny because we were both very quiet and we just, because we were under the shade of the trees also. So it was like double dark. But I have a lot to say about it, and I'm passionate because I just think it's so important. I love the night, and I miss night. Yeah,
It is true. I moved to the countryside. I used to live in Buenos Aires, that's a big city, and then I moved to the countryside now, and there are no buildings, there are a few street lights, but I got to see the stars again. I know every now and then I go out, but I'm so used to live in the city that I normally forget that there's possibility at night to go outside and see the stars. And every now and then when I turn home late or I go out to pick something up or I see the stars and I say, wow, that's true, they're there. Hi.
yeah. No, it's amazing, because they won't always be there. Like when I didn't hear the stars were here, and when my parents live in Vermont. And the other thing that's really obscuring the night is the satellites.
Okay, I didn't know that.
All the astronomers are having big problems because if you look at pictures of astronomy, there's these streaks across the sky, and it's the satellites going all the time. So, I mean, it doesn't matter if we see the stars. This is one sort of soul defining question, but doesn't matter if we pollute the sky. That's part of, in my mind, it's a big piece of climate change because electric usage is our original sort of way of over energy using.
That's true.
We think it's cheap, but it's not. It's like calories in your body. It's calories in the earth body being wasted, kind of. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
You can see I can preach on this. Okay.
No, it's love.
How do you really feel?
Yeah, right.
How do you really feel?
Every night. No, you know what? I think this goes under climate grief. Every night I'm sad and angry because every night my neighbor's lights come in my house. And sometimes they turn it off. And so I want it off, right? Every night I want to look at the stars. I want to look out the window. So it's an interesting crossover into the social sciences there.
Sure. You should definitely submit this idea. I think it's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I will. Have someone join. Yeah.
Hello, family. Hi, Gideon. How are you? I don't know if I think you're in a bus. No worries. Just for you to know, this is a meeting that's a bit different from the others. I hope you can hear me, but this one is mostly to answer questions you might have on the submitting of your idea to the campaign we are having. That's turning climate action into a teaching artist legacy. So just feel free to text us in the chat if you have any doubt on that, if you have been able to see the form. If not, I'm going to re-share it again in the chat so you may see it, and just drop any question you may have. And also feel free to like more or like a drop in, drop out. You can go try to fill it in, come back, say, hey, I got stuck here. You can just like leave the camera on, start filling it in, and drop any question. We are here to help. I can put on music if you like to get inspired. I can do like, you just tell me what you need and I will be happy to provide.
Gideon, where are you calling in from?
I don't know if you can hear us due to the bus noise. Or perhaps he's too into the forum now.
Maybe.
I'll in the chat for him. Oh, there you go.
I'm just curious. Well, this has answered, questions. It's just clarified a little bit for me. I'm not going to work on it right now because I'm actually on the southeast coast of Georgia. I'm in a little beach town on Tybee Island, so I'm kind of on a rare vacation. And,
Oh, that's lovely.
Sweet.
He's in Accra, in Ghana.
In Ghana. Yeah.
I once had a teacher from Ghana that was so inspiring for me. I have like lovely memories from the country because of him.
Did you go to school there?
No, it was actually an exchange program in Oslo, in Norway.
Wow.
He was teaching there.
Okay. And what's your medium? What's your art medium?
I'm actually not an artist.
Oh.
I'm like a spy in disguise.
You're what?
A spy in disguise.
Okay.
No, I majored in international relations and I did a master on climate change. So I dedicate more to the science on that side, not this.
Yeah.
But I do love art. I do love the social part and I do think a major part of the problem is us connecting differently with each other and with the climate and environment we are living in. And that reconnection needs sympathy, needs art, needs human contact. And that's the importance of this space. So,
well, artists specialize in perception, right? And that's what it requires. It's shifting your perception.
Exactly. Let's see, Gideon, let's see if you can access with this link.
Ghana.
Were you able to access with the one I shared the first time? Let's see, I send it just to him. Let's see if with this one. Are you able to access the Google form, Barry and Sana, just to like make sure? All right.
The first time I tried, I didn't get it, but I got it from the link in this chat.
Okay, great.
From some email, it didn't work. I couldn't figure it out, but this one worked. Yes, thank you.
The one in the email didn't work?
Well, there might have been more than one. Something didn't work that I tried, but this worked. So I think it probably is fine.
Great.
I was trying to write in bit.ly, and there's a million, legacy projects for every single profession has a legacy project, right?
Yes, that's true. So are you going to the beach after this meeting, Barry? I think it's
yes.
even more valuable that you're in this meeting right now, given the chance you have to be at the sea.
I'm just resting. Yesterday I taught 6 classes and then drove 5 hours. So
Oh my.
a full day, but yeah. Just
Oh my God. Do you like driving, or is it like,
I do. I like driving. Yeah.
for me, it gets tiring. I mean, more than 4 hours, I get too worried.
I listen to books on CD and I enjoy it.
Oh, my boyfriend and I, we have a playlist made that's specific for traveling, because I do live in Cordoba, but I tend to come a lot to Buenos Aires, and it's an 8-hour drive. So
8 hours. Wow.
yes, we do split them, and we have a playlist. But the problem is we always listen to the same playlist, so we kind of get tired of it.
Yeah,
And we're
books
like,
on tape are great.
hmm.
The story gets, grabs your mind. And then you're listening to a story. But I think cars are all too big for me. I'm very small, very petite. So like, it's so painful to drive because I have to stretch for the pedal and my seat doesn't fit. And so they make cars for big people in America right now. Yeah.
I was there a few months ago, a few weeks even ago, and I saw the cars and I was like,
yeah,
this is too big.
It's too big. It's too big. It makes no sense. We think bigger is better. We think more is better. And
Where were you, Sol? Where did you come here?
I was in New York and in Washington. It was not too hot because I saw the temperatures in Dallas and in California, and it was like, oh my, what's going to expect me from me? Is it too hot where you are now?
Too hot?
Yeah.
It's cooling off here. It's been a hot summer, but it's cooling off. Was it nice to get away from your winter for a little bit?
Yes, exactly. This is my first winter in the countryside, so I'm not used to it. I mean, the city with all the heat and like the urban setting that kind of like holds the heat during the night, even, is not as cold. And there in the countryside, it was like, oh my, this is what winter actually looks like. It was hard, so it was nice to go to the summer.
I can't remember. Is Cordoba? It's a little bit northwest of Buenos Aires.
Exactly. It's like more to the center and the north. So, and it has a lot of like mountains and rivers. And I'm actually in a place that's not this main city, so it still has the streets not with cement, but like with
Gravel.
land, with soil.
Yeah.
And in summer it's lovely, but in winter it gets complicated.
Here's Debbie.
Yes, I was going to say hi, Debbie.
Hi, I'm joining you from a really windy Seattle. So
Okay.
it's great to join you. And I got the time zone difference wrong. I thought you were meeting like really early this morning, but it's great to be here.
Yeah, time zones are complicated for us all.
So it sounds like you're doing some great work.
Yes, we were actually, you go ahead.
So I'm about to start my master's thesis around peace building and migration, but I'm focusing on water movement. So I will put together the stuff and put it in the documents as I get through that. It's going to take about 4 months to get the piece of work finished. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting that over with.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Actually, this session is meant to solve any questions you might have on the form. The campaign we are doing is we are going to be receiving submissions until the end of September, more or less. It doesn't have to be something finished. It just needs to be an idea. Have you been able to see the submission form, Debbie?
Probably. I've been doing quite a lot of work over the summer. So yeah, I'll review that and I will get back to you. I have to put together an ethics proposal within the next 2 weeks. So I can kind of, at the moment, I'm framing up lots of forms. So I can adjust it. Does that make sense? I can adjust it to meet your criteria on that. And also
Yes.
I'm working with the business group in ITAC, looking
Yeah.
at how we actually make all this an affordable income for us, because that's the problem I have here, is that people want projects and they want you to pay $3,000, which is not a living wage. So that's really important, as well as doing the advocacy work.
Okay. No, so far this one is might be a bit different from the forms I'm guessing you've been needing to fill. I mean, we are we're accepting any kind of activity. It can be it doesn't have any requirements on the length, on the format, on the audience that's targeted. I mean, any kind of activity is received. You don't need to pay in order to submit.
I know, that's a massive thing, you know, like when you kind of are submitting for shows and things like that here, they want upfront payment, and it's really difficult to navigate the funding side of that. So, and I'd much actually prefer ITAC's approach in that everything is open source. And I have colleagues in Serbia. So even though I'm English, I live in North America, but I have colleagues in England and in Bosnia. And I actually did a workshop with a lass East Coast, with Jeff Meister on the East Coast. And we had an African lady come to it as well. And I presented that back in February. And that was my initial run at this piece of work. So it'll roll a little bit longer, but it should be usable by January within the whole of ITAC, really, which is my hope.
Okay. Yes, I mean, the idea, from what I've been hearing from you, what you've got so far, it's more than plenty to submit these forms.
Oh yeah.
I've sent it the link both to Atsu here that joined the meeting, hi, and to you, Debbie, so you may get to see it and go quickly through it. And if there's any question you might have, we still have a few minutes remaining. So you can like ask me, and if not, of course, afterwards, you probably got the mailing. If you reply to that mailing with whatever question you might have, feel free. Just a few highlights on what we've been talking so far. The submissions will be received until ends of September, because the voting process will happen during October. And you'll probably be invited. It's not mandatory, it's just an invitation we are going to give to everyone that submits to present your idea. In the meeting we'll have the 27th of October. If you can't make it, but you still want to showcase your idea, you can send us a video and we'll replay it for everybody to see. And if you can't make it and you don't feel comfortable leaving a video or any kind of material for us to show, that doesn't mean that your idea will be less or more promoted than the rest. We'll give a Google form that'll have the same place to showcase for everybody, independently if you make it or not to the meeting, just for you to know. That's just an invitation. It's not.
Thank you. That sounds great. That sounds very equitable for everybody to participate, which is great. The other thing to say is this might end up going to the Human Rights Festival in Oxford, because actually that's where my university is, as well as UNITAR. So I need to check with them as to what can be published when, because I don't know if things can be published before they've been submitted to the university. You know, I don't want to foul my finishing this course of 4 years. So it might have to be held over for a little while and embargoed. But I will check in with my thesis supervisor next week and we'll discuss. There's a few things I need to iron out with her as we go into the new semester. So yeah.
Perfect.
So thank you for that information.
No worries. Yes, I would recommend you, if you still want to, if they tell you, no worries, it's okay. If you have any question, you can like just write it down and we'll make sure to attend it. If you can, Debbie, if you can't publish anything, please, but you still want to submit, please just send the comment to say, don't publish anything of it until I give press
Thank
permission.
you for your understanding.
Please hold this, everything, hold this, because we might, I don't know, assume that we can't share it if it's submitted.
Yeah.
I didn't send this side, I said I would, but for you to know, everyone who submits, the ITAC group is developing the website exclusive for this campaign. It will look like, perfect, Peter, I'll send you I'll add you to the mailing list of ITAC.
Yeah, that's fine. Let me
but
just
the
work out where
one-
you're sending this to.
Exactly. E-engagement program, it's going to be fairly similar to the lookout that this campaign will have. So just for you to know, if you go through the PDFs that's loaded in that bank of resources, you'll see more or less how our resources will look like.
That's
We'll
great.
have-
Because also
you-
those PDFs make it easier to write submissions for work. Do you know, I hate reinventing the wheel. And I think
No,
if you've
we're
already
not.
done that, you've already done that upfront work of how you like to see it done. And my other part that I'm really looking at is how do we have measurable outcomes from this work? You know, that's really important for the evidence-based side of ITAC and teaching artistry, especially in the climate field, because we're up against quite heavy-duty science and education. And how do we advocate for teaching artistry within education? And particularly in the Pacific, where I am, a lot of people even deny climate change exists. So finding different methodologies of, that's my university word, sorry, different ways of sharing that with people is really important. So I think this is great work. Thank you for doing it.
Oh, thank you for joining us. And yes, and that form specifically, the measurement impacts, we talked about it. It's mainly, we are not aiming for like quantitative or qualitative indicators. There's no like a specific one. We are considering, yes, the impact made. It will depend on the objective of the activity you are proposing.
Mm-hmm.
If your aim is to reach as many people as possible, potentially the measurement impact will be how many people attended the activity. But on the other side, if your objective is to change people's perspective on climate change, probably the measurement impact will be that all the people that attended the meeting at the beginning said they didn't believe in climate change, and after the meeting, at least 3 people said they will consider climate change, perhaps being real. That would be your measurement.
That sounds perfect. Thank you for that.
Well, this has been useful. Thank you. I'm going to sign off. Sana, it's been nice to meet
Yes,
you. And good to see
Yeah.
you here, Peter.
Thank you for joining us. I didn't realize it was
Peter.
already time.
That's
So
okay. Let's do
On the
it.
beach.
go to the beach and be happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And for the rest of us, is there any last minute question you would like to ask me? Or if not, we'll send this recording will be available, so you'll be able to see all the questions that were made throughout this hour, and we actually responded. It'll be within a playlist within YouTube that you'll also have the meeting where we launched the activity, and we kind of like did an example of the step-to-step feeling. The deadline will be the end of September, but again, we're an open-minded group, so we realize that if you happen to have an idea on the last minute, or you have like some problem, you can just email me and say, hey, I know the deadline was today, but I promise I'll have it by Monday, and no worries there. We understand that things happen. Just know that if you submit it by midst of October, we'll probably won't be able to add it on time to the Google form we'll use for people to vote. So I'll share the email for you to have where you can contact us. There we go. I'll put it. And are there any other questions? Deadline. Great. Well, thank you all for joining. And next time we will go back to the normal schedule, and we'll have a special guest that will be Katie Basil. That's part of ITAC too, that will share her project on I think the Arctic. I can't remember, but it was a very interesting project, which I share more in the mailing. Well, if there are no more questions, yes, go ahead. Thank you. Bye to all.
No,